held several prestigious positions, including GB member of the Institute of Development Studies, Kolkata. He was the former Dean, Faculty of Arts and the Commerce, University of Pollani. Sir expertise extend beyond academia with significant contribution to the curriculum development, research grant evaluation, and selection committees for the various universities and the commissions. Professor De's affiliation with the professional organization like the Indian Sociological Society reflect his commitment to this field. His publication with the renowned publishers like Sage or Pearson include recent works such as the Rural Sociology, Women Encounter with Disaster, demonstrate his scholarly impact. He has actively participated in seminars, symposia, and workshops both in India and abroad, and served as the editorial board member of Lokodarpan and Netaji Supas Open University Journal of Social Sciences. Professor, they bring a wealth knowledge in qualitative method, particularly how the human behavior and the social realities can be studied. His session will unpack the tools and techniques that give the voice to the lived experiences behind the data. Now I request to Sir to start your session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Hajra, for your lucid introduction. So I would like to, first of all, uh, extend my regard and thanks to Principal Dr. Shukdev Ghosh of Sri Krishna College, Bogula, Nodia, West Bengal. And I also extend my regards and thankfulness to uh, Dr. Anamika Chakraborty, coordinator IQAC of this college, and the, the other teacher members or faculties of this college. I also extend my deep regards to all of them. And good afternoon to everybody, all of my colleagues and research scholars present here. So I'm going to present an overview of qualitative research, dimensions of qualitative research. So just give me one moment. So I need to show you some PPT. হ্যাঁ হচ্ছে কিভাবে করবো প্রেজেন্ট ও আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে জাস্ট
Sir, we may assist you.
Yes, I have already sent my PPT to your
Yes.
college for presentation. So I'm a little bit late. Sorry for the late. So should I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. My topic is dimensions of qualitative research and overview. So, uh, first of all, I would like to share some of the contextual aspect of qualitative research. So, I should start with my subject area, that is sociology. So, we start with Robert Putnam, a renowned sociologist, 1994. He viewed this entire thing
Your
from the.
skin, sorry, sir, for interruption. Your skin not visible, sir.
Hello, Parmita. I am
Yes.
working on it. Just
Okay,
give me
okay,
1 minute.
okay,
Whenever it is visible, please tell me. Okay.
Okay.
okay, okay.
Not yet.
Is this visible?
No,
Visible,
no.
but screen is not visible.
Okay.
You just go to the enter skin.
Hmm. Parmita, is this not visible till now?
No, no.
No, it's not.
I've also sent it to you also. Can you try it from your
Yeah.
side?
Yes, yes, I just keep.
Shall I stop my presenting?
No, you just try this. I will.
Okay.
Something went wrong.
I think this is now visible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is visible now.
Okay, you can start, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most welcome, sir.
Slide, please. First slide. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, you just tell me whenever you want to go to next slide. I will
Okay.
do that. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So again, I start with this slide that Robert Uthno in 1994 viewed this qualitative research in this way, that the this very business of sociology is assumed to be one of interpretation, not one of discovering objective facts from some precrusting bed of empirical reality, or presenting lawful generalization about the causal ordering of facts. So we should remember this statement made by Utno, as well as he also extend his argument with this statement: as a community of scholars, our goal must always be always be to promote discourse about our interpretation, not to advance them simply as authoritative pronouncements. So this is a clear explanation or argument in favor of research particularly, and which is applied in social sciences. In qualitative research, we concentrate on qualitative research, but before that, qualitative and quantitative, two types of research style, differs in several ways, but they are complementary in some ways. The nature of data itself, and it is one source of difference of research. Therefore, we must concentrate on the point that the data source, uh, that is the main of criterion of differences between the two. So I will discuss it later. Next slide, please. All social researchers systematically collect and analyze empirical evidence to understand and explain social life. So you all aware about this statement. When data are in the form of words, sentences, paragraphs, rather than numbers, researchers use different research strategies and data collection techniques. Then it depends on the researcher's nature of research: what to collect, how to collect, where to collect, when to collect. These are the concern one researcher can raise from his or her side. Qualitative researchers rarely use the tool of quantitative research, that is variables, reliability, statistics, hypothesis, replication, and scales. So we know these are used in quantitative research. So another important area is orientation of quantitative research. That is uh, something different from qualitative research. It adopts assumptions about social life, objective of research, and ways to deal with data that are often to add with the with the quantitative approach. So it is different from qualitative in nature. Such difference can create confusion among students, researchers, and readers of research report. So it creates sometimes confusion among the researchers, which approach or style of research will be appropriate for his or her research. So next slide, please. Most people enjoy reading reports of qualitative research. This is a kind of statement. The reports often contain rich description, colorful details, usual characters instead of formal, neutral tone with statistics. They give the reader a feel of particular particular people and events in concrete social settings. So social settings is also important. The myth is is that qualitative research is easy, as we all think about this style, that it is very easy and quantitative type of research is very hard. The dichotomies between better and worse, or easier or harder research will not help you understand the differences between qualitative and quantitative research. So this approach we should separate from our understanding. So qualitative research contains several techniques, that is grounded theory, ethnography, life history, conversational analysis, etc. And it is also state that female researchers are more likely than male researchers to use qualitative research. But this is not true in all cases. So this is another statement. uh, Next, many researchers combine elements from qualitative and quantitative methods in particular research projects at the same time. This is another approach. Next slide, please. Uh, the following research methods or can be applied that I have already mentioned: ethnography or participant observation, qualitative interviewing, that is interviewing style. There are range of interviewing styles are available. Focus group, discourse analysis, and conversation analysis, that is language based approaches. Analysis of texts and documents. These are the methods you can apply at the time of collection of data or doing qualitative research. A multi-method approach is frequently employed in qualitative research, as I have already mentioned. It also incorporates several different methods of data collection at the same time. The connection between theory and research is ambiguous than in quantitative research in case of qualitative research. So findings feedback into the relevant theory. So theory is supposed to be the outcome of an investigation rather than something it precedes it. Next slide. So what are the main steps we could follow in case of qualitative research when we do qualitative kind of research? So first of all, general research questions. We should establish some or set some general research questions, select relevant sites and subjects, where to go and who are the subjects, and collection of relevant data. Then our task is to collect relevant data, interpretation of data, and conceptual and theoretical work. This is very important aspect that has to be subdivided into two parts, that is tighter specification of research questions. So our concentration should be on setting up of research questions and collection of further data. Then if required, we can collect further data on the required objectives as well as fulfilling research questions. Writing up findings or conclusions. This is the last aspects. After collection of data, you have to you have to conclude on the basis of analysis. Then important consideration come to our mind, that is theory and research. Most qualitative researchers, when writing their thesis, emphasizes a preference for treating theory as something that emerges out of collection analysis of data. So the approach will be different in case of qualitative research. So practitioners of grounded theory especially stress the importance of allowing theoretical ideas to emerge out of one's data, can and should have important role in relation to testing of theories, in relation to testing of theories. So this is another initiative. Sometimes researchers uh, prepare some grounded theory, especially stress on importance theoretical ideas that emerge out of one's data. That whatever data or information researcher collected from the field, on that basis, in relation to testing of that theories, those theories, that the context will come. Next slide, please. So much qualitative uh, research involves the testing of theories in course of the research process. In course of the research process, this is important aspect of testing of theories in the research process. Point specification of the research questions and mm, collection of further data implies that a theoretical position may emerge in the course of research. So the steps I have made the subdivision of 2 points on the basis of conceptual and theoretical work. Point number 5 in my previous slide, that is tighter specification of the research questions and the collection of further data. These 2 points are very important during the course of research, and and spur the collection of other data to test that theory. If required, further data can be collected during the process of data collection or after the process of data collection. But it is not always necessary feature of the process of qualitative research. At the same time, it is not always necessary feature for the process of qualitative research. So Silverman, 1993, he mentioned that pre-specified theories can be and sometimes are tested with qualitative data. But the generation of theory tends to be the preferred approach for qualitative research. Silverman also mentioned that generation of theory is preferable approach for qualitative research. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. Concepts in qualitative research. That what are the concepts or how to deal with the concepts. Developing concepts are not the significant consideration in qualitative research, but very much part of it. And you know, it is very much important for quantitative research. And according to Bloomer, concepts are thought about as definitive and sensitizing. So concepts, as you know, it is very important for analyzing, and it should be definiting for a particular research, and that has to be some meaning in the name of sensitizing that concept for the researcher as well and the reader also. So concepts once developed, it becomes fixed through the elaboration of, in case of quantitative research. What I have already mentioned, that whatever concepts prepared by the researcher in context of that particular research, that must be fixed throughout the research for that particular research. Bloomer suggests that concepts should sensitizing when researchers provide a general sense of reference and guidance in approaching empirical instances. So Bloomer also highlights these aspects that sensitizing is in case from the part of the researcher is very important, and its general sense. The concept may differ from one case to another case, one context to another context. So it is important that a reference of a particular research, that empirical instances and guidance in approaching empirical instances should be there. Please, next slide. Approaching data. So approaching data is another aspect that qualitative research style involves more than looking at qualitative research, quantitative data, sorry. So our style involves on the basis of qualitative data. So positivists often try to convert the data into a quantitative form or analyze it using quantitative techniques. For the positivists, qualitative data are mental states or conditions that cause measurable behavior. So positivists believe that it is the mental state or condition when we want to measure behavior of the individual. So it is not as usual with the quantitative techniques or quantitative studies or quantitative form of data. So you can easily differentiate quantitative and qualitative data and its interpretation in this perspective also. The issue is to capture it with precise, reliable, and quantitative measurement. So whenever we collect data, our intention is to capture precise, reliable, and quantitative measurement of that data. But by contrast, qualitative researchers view qualitative data as essentially meaningful because they depends on the descriptive and an elaborate description and explanation of collected information. So the central issues are not how to convert qualitative data into reliable objective numbers. Rather, they concern such matter as the accessibility to other cultures. That means it is not important to convert qualitative data always into quantitative form. So it is also important to represent qualitative information to other cultures as well. It is actually meant that the readers, it is meaningful to the readers irrespective of their cultures. The relativity of actors' account of their social worlds that I have already mentioned, just mentioned, relativity of actors' accounts of their social world. That actors account means here the other social, their social world. That means the respondents or the subject in the field, their social world may vary from one place to another. So so their context may vary from one time to another. There are a number of variations. So qualitative researchers should cautious about their presentation of data or information, whatever they collected from the field. The relation between sociological descriptions and actors' conceptions of their actions, as Hamphney, 1979, he actually viewed this thing that the sociological descriptions and the actors' conceptions of their actions, there should have some relationship, just like investigator or qualitative researcher and the subject or the respondents of the field, there should have certain relationship between themselves. Next slide, please. The qualitative research, the qualitative research style values qualitative data. So we have already discussed it. Its entire orientation is organized about theorizing, theorizing, collecting, and analyzing qualitative data. So I have already mentioned that the entire task of the researchers centered around theorizing, collecting, and analyzing the collected data. So qualitative researchers may have different concerns about data because of its variety or variation. They may be concerned more with generating new concepts than with testing existing ones. Because a researcher uh, of qualitative research or qualitative researchers, they actually visited number of different fields of their study area as their study area. So they are much more cautious and concerned more about generating newer concept from the field than the testing existing ones, what he or she thoughts about. So qualitative data at the same time are empirical in nature. So it is also empirical in nature because we are collecting data or information from the field. Their task is to involve documenting real events, what is going on in the field among the subjects, recording what people say with words, gestures, and tone, observing specific behaviors, studying written documents, or examining visual images. All these things can be gathered from the field work or from the study area, and that could be accommodated at the time of analysis of data. These are all concrete aspects of the world or social world. Some researchers take and closely scrutinize photos and videotapes of people or social events. That also mentioned by Bell and Smith in 1992 and Harper 1994. These are the techniques that you could apply in your research also, that these materials can also helpful for your research as qualitative data. Next slide, please. So we must say something about the differences of qualitative and quantitative research. So in case of quantitative and qualitative research, first of all, quantitative research, that concepts are the form of distinct variables. And in this case, qualitative concepts are in the form of themes and subjects, uh, classifications, generalizations, etc. So in qualitative form, concepts are in the forms of themes, subjects, generalizations, and classifications. Secondly, precise measurement of collected data in the form of numbers and words. So in case of quantitative data, it is in the form of numbers and words. But in case of qualitative data, documents, observations, transcripts are in the form of are the data converted into words. So these are the relevant documents for qualitative data. And thirdly, measurements are systematically formed on ad hoc basis. On ad hoc basis and specific before data collection. Measurements are decided to the by the researcher to the individual setting, because it depends on so many factors at a time. But in case of quantitative research, we systematically formed uh, before data collection the measurements, whatever measurements are required for analysis and interpretation. And fourthly, causal and deductive theories are based on are used here, and both causal and non-causal theories and inductive method are used in case of qualitative research. So causal and deductive theories are used in case of quantitative, and causal and non-causal theories and inductive methods are used in qualitative research. So next slide. So procedures are standard, and replication is possible in case of quantitative research, but procedures are particular in particular research, and replication is rare in case of qualitative research. In quantitative research, testing of hypotheses can be used. In qualitative research, capture and discover meaning from collected data. So researcher task is to capture and discover meaning from whatever data he or she has to collect from the field. And lastly, analysis process proceeds by using statistical techniques to relate hypotheses. So you know that in case of quantitative research, you can use statistical techniques as well as testing of hypothesis, etc. But in case of analysis, extracting themes or generalization from data and present a consistent picture in case of qualitative research. Here, researcher actually analyzing and extracting themes, and on that basis generalizing data and trying to present a consistent picture. So the non-positivist perspective, it is applicable in case of qualitative social research, and it is largely relied on the interpretive and critical approaches to social science. The foundation of quantitative research is positivism, as you know, and quantitative research is contrary to the core assumptions and goals of interpretative social science. So in contrast, critical researchers use quantitative techniques. So historical comparative research is most compatible with the critical approach. And sometimes it is also used by researchers who adopt the interpretive or the positivist approach in their research. And field research is suited to the interpretive research, but some critical research also use it. So you can also use these approaches like interpretative research and critical research approaches in case of qualitative research. So the significance of these three approaches is that the research actually how a researcher sees data, and the nature of interpretation, and also depends on the objectives, questions, how to fulfill the questions, and the objectives of the research. So quantitative researcher assumes that he or she can conceptualize sociological concepts as variables and accordingly develop objective precise measures with number of numbers that captures important features of social world. This is the concept of again quantitative researchers. So next slide. Qualitative researcher research, it is a research strategy like quantitative research, that it emphasizes words rather than quantification in the collection of analysis and data. So researchers have to depend on the verbatims or the recorded or the collected information from the subjects or the respondents, whatever they uh, depicted or stated at that time. As a research strategy, it is broadly inductivist, constructionist, and interpretivist. So this type of research, qualitative research, is broadly inductivist, as well as I have already mentioned in my first or second slides that it is inductivist in nature, constructionist, and interpretivist. But qualitative researchers do not always subscribes to all three these of these features. It is not mandatory all the time that he or she should follow or apply all the three approaches at a time. So qualitative researcher focuses on subjective meanings. This is very important, for the case of qualitative research. Subjective meanings, definitions, metaphors, symbols, and descriptions of specific cases. So this subjective aspect of collected as a collected data is very difficult to interpret, analyze, interpret. Therefore, researchers researchers have to cautious while analyzing their data. He or she attempts to capture aspects of social world for which it is difficult to develop precise measures expressed as numbers. So one drawback we have to face at the time uh, that the data we are collecting from our social world or particular field of study, so it is very difficult to reach a conclusion or measures uh, to follow and expressed in the form of numbers. So keeping these difficulties in mind, we have to follow some other paths as well. A non-linear path, researchers follow a path when conducting research. So this path is a metaphor for the sequence of things to do. That what are the steps or actions researchers have to do or to take at the time of field work, that has to be decided whenever situation demands. uh, because there may be different type of situations in different fields, so they should prepare for that. And it may be new path into unknown territory where few others have gone. You don't know how much uh, information you will get from your area, so you have to touch unknown territory, or some it emerge from the field that without knowing prior, so it is very difficult for the researcher. Therefore they should prepare, mentally at least prepare for the diversion, deviation, and the variation in the field. Quantitative researchers follow a more linear path than do the qualitative researcher, and linear research path follows a fixed sequence of steps that I have already mentioned. It is like a staircase leading in one clear direction. So there is a clear direction for quantitative researchers. It is way of thinking uh, and a way of looking at issues. The direct, narrow, straight path that is most common in particularly in Western Europe and North American culture. So in case of quantitative, it is clear, but wherever we are dealing with qualitative research type, so we have to face several aspects during research. So please, next slide. Next slide, please. So qualitative research on is more non-linear and cyclical. A cyclical research path makes successive passes through steps, sometimes moving backward and sideways before moving on. That I have just mentioned that in case of qualitative research, you have to move forward. This is true, but it is also necessary sometimes moving backward or sideward whenever necessary, or whenever situation arises in the field. It is more spiral moving slowly upward, but not directly. So it is a spiral way of upward movement, you can say. With each cycle or repetition, a researcher collects new data and gains new insights. So there is a chance of collecting new kind of data in each cycle and got new insights. A cyclical path is suited for tasks such as translating languages and languages where delicate shades of meaning, stable connotations, or contextual distinctions can be important. So, cyclical path is suited the when the task of the researcher is at that time some shades of meaning and subtle connotations of the contextual distinction that I have already mentioned. All these things, that few things come, that is subtle connotation, shade, delicate shades of meaning while during a conversation with the respondents, and the context is very important for the researchers, that when and where he or she is collecting her data. So this is not all. I would like to uh, present verbally few more aspects from non-slide. That is also, I think, very much important for the qualitative research or the researchers, those who are going to apply in the in future. So we should follow some alternative criteria for evaluating qualitative research. So our task is to collect relevant data. That is also important. And evaluation of data is very important, because qualitative research is different from quantitative research, that I have already mentioned, and you are also aware of it. It provides an alternative to reliability and validity, because this is another aspect of research, that the researcher trying to establish their research's reliability and validity. So according to Lincoln and Guba, 1985 and 1994, proposes two criteria for assessing qualitative study. So what kind of study that you have already decided? After that, how to uh, assess that, or how to evaluate that research type? That is, first of all, you have to establish trustworthiness, and then authenticity. So these two aspects, I think, fulfill the concept of reliability, the question of reliability and validity of the research. So we should concentrate these two important criteria, that is trustworthiness. It actually combines four criteria at a time. That is, first of all, trustworthiness follows four criteria. That is credibility. It shows multiple account of social reality, and especially evident in the trustworthiness criterion of credibility. So it is the question of credibility that one research should have. It is the task of the researcher to ensure acceptability to others about his or her research. That another responsibility to the researcher, that that his or her research has some acceptability to others. Again, researcher has to ensure that research is carried out according to the principles of good practice, and submitting research findings to the members of social world. To the members of social world is very important. We cannot ignore this fact. So it is the responsibility from the part of the researcher, that he or she has to establish credibility of the research, and then transferability. So this is kind of question of this can fulfill the question of validity also. So qualitative research entails the intensive study of small group or individuals sharing certain characteristics. Findings tend to be to the contextual uniqueness and significance of the aspect of social world being studied. So contextual uniqueness, which is very much significant for the researcher to establish transferability. Transferability. So, according to Gids, 1973, qualitative research are encourages encouraged to produce thick description. This is very important in case of qualitative research. This thick description uh, actually indicates a rich account of details of a culture. Rich account of details of a culture. Thick description. So this second one, that is transferability under trustworthiness after credibility, is also important aspect criterion. And another criterion is dependability. Dependability. This is also qualify validity of research. To establish the merit of research, researchers should adopt an auditing approach. You know the term audit, so auditing approach. So it is the task of the researcher, he or she should adopt an auditing approach. It indicates that an audit trial to ensure complete records are kept of all phases of research process in an accessible manner, not only keeping the research records, but also it should be accessible to all. This is it should be marked, I think. This would be assessing the justification of theoretical inferences. So this is very important to to express dependability on your record, on your data, that you have you have to uh, keep it uh, in a proper manner and accessible. So uh, fourthly, conformability. This is fourth, I think. Fourthly, fourthly, dependability. No, third one is dependability. Fourth one is conformability. Conformability. It is also parallel to reliability. Conformability. Researcher has not explicitly allowed personal values or theoretical preferences to control the conduct of the research and the findings deriving from it. Lincoln and Guba proposes that establishing conformability should be one of the objectives of the auditors. So conformability is also important, that could that could be auditable. So so it is kind of reliability, fulfilling the quality of reliability. And second characteristics was authenticity of criteria of evaluating qualitative data or research. So authenticity is is very important for qualitative research. And the social setting, in context of representing social setting, different social setting, and the members of different social setting, this is important. Therefore, the question of fairness, whether researcher is fairly represent different viewpoint among members of the social setting or not. And another authenticity, actually this authenticity criteria raise some issues. first issue is the question of fairness. Second one is ontological authenticity, whether the current research helps members for better understanding of their social setting. That is the task of the researcher, uh, to understand uh, the entire social setting under his or her control. And another one is catalytic authenticity, whether the research is able to impact upon the members to enable them for action to change their situation. This is catalytic authenticity, that researcher is able to impact upon the members to enable them to action to change their situation. This is the important role from the part of the researcher on the field and during the research process. And then technical authenticity. Technical authenticity, the research empowered members to take the steps necessary for engaging in action. So it is the whether the researcher empowered members or the research itself empowered the members to take the steps necessary for engaging in action or not. So authenticity criteria are thought-provoking, but not influential in wider impact. So authenticity criteria, uh, these criteria points have the that validity, means the empirical. Just a minute. Certain points have the closeness with action research, and Hammersley in 1992 believed that validity means an empirical account must be believable and dependable and should take into account the amount and kind of evidence used in arriving at a set of findings. So Hammersley viewed in this way that validity is empirical account that must be believed and dependable and should take into account the amount and kind of evidence used or collected from the set of findings. So important concern for qualitative research. There are some concerns that it reflects from epistemological ground that beliefs about what constitute acceptable knowledge. Qualitative researchers are more influenced by interpretivism. It is the product of three related stances, that is Weber's notion of Restehen, symbolic interactionism, and phenomenology. So there are five preoccupations among qualitative research that you can follow. That seeing through the eyes of people being studied. So how to study people that should be uh, determined during or before the research study started, and should draws attention on the objects of the social sciences. That is people. People are the main concern or the object of research, are capable of attributing meaning to their environment. So they are the actual uh, provider, information provider, that they are the capable of providing actual meaning of their own environment. So many qualitative researchers have suggested that a methodology is required for studying people that reflects these differences between people and the objects of the natural sciences. So social world must be interpreted perspective of the people that I have mentioned. The epistemology underlying qualitative research has been expressed as face-to-face interaction and must participate in the mind of another human being. So these are the two important area through which qualitative research can be expressed: face-to-face interaction and of participation, and another one is participate in the mind of another human being and take the role of other to acquire social knowledge. So many investigators sought to take the view of the people they studied as the point of departure. This tendency reveals itself in frequent references to empathy and seeing through their eyes. The empathetic stance of seeking to see through the eyes of one's research participants is very much in tune with the interpretivism and demonstrate well the epistemological links with the phenomenology, symbolic interactionism, and Western. So, uh, this is the first way of uh, viewing, seeing, or preoccupations of qualitative researchers. And the second one is abductive reasoning. So this is a logical inference that involves making an educated guess or inference to explain a set of observations. It is often used when information is incomplete or uncertain, and the goal is to find the most likely explanation. With abduction, the researcher grounds a theoretical understanding of the context of people he or she is studying in the language, meaning, and perspectives that from their worldview. And the important step is that the researcher must come to social scientific account of the social world as seen from those perspectives. The researcher must not lose touch with the world as it is seen by those whose voices provided the data. So, abduction is broadly inductive in approach, but is worth distinguishing by virtue of its reliance in explanation and understanding of participants' world's view. So, major emphasis on the uh, participants in the form of uh, people under study and the social world or social setting of the particular research, and description and emphasis on context. So qualitative research, uh, qualitative studies provide a detailed account what goes on to in the setting being investigated, and full of apparently unimportant details that we sometimes uh, mean to say, but it is not so. These are important to the researcher because of their significance of their subject and also the context within which people's behavior takes place. So, Gids recommended the provision of thick description of social settings, events, and often individuals. And this type of studies are often full of detailed information about social world. Some of the details are relevant, and there is a risk of researcher becoming too embroiled or involved in descriptive details or engaged in descriptive details. So Loveland in 1995 warns about descriptive excess where the amount of information impacts the analysis of data. The reason behind providing description details, they typically emphasize, they typically emphasize the importance of the contextual understanding of social behavior. Contextual understanding of social behavior. The behavior, values, or any other elements are being examined must be understood in context. That I have already once mentioned. We cannot understand the behavior of members of a social group other than in terms of specific environment. So conducting this research in more than one setting may be helpful in identifying the significance of context. So if we want to identify or understand the context or the behavioral context, it is better to 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 decide more than one context or setting for your particular research. So emphasis also given on the process, not only on context. So qualitative research actually tends to view social life again in terms of process and the concern to show how events and patterns unfold over time. So qualitative evidence conveys a strong sense of change and instability. Change and instability. So this is very important in case of qualitative research. Process is a sequence of individual and collective events, actions and activities unfolding over time in context. This is also mentioned by Pettigrew in 1997. So it is a research based on ethnographic method, which is associated with, again, emphasis on process. So you know the ethnographic process. So in this process, ethnographers immersed in social setting for a long time. So they are able to observe the way in which events develop over time, or the way in which the different elements of a social system interconnected. So in this case, this can be achieved through semi-structured or unstructured interviewing by asking their interviewees how they got together with their current partners or most recent dates. What are the changes, or where the changes taken place in earlier or for the time being. The researchers were able to build up accounts of the process of getting together and to compare interviewees. Sorry.
Sorry, sir, you are not audible.
Yes, just a minute.
Okay.
So flexibility and limited structure. So researchers are actually disdainful of approaches to research that entails the imposition of predetermined formats on the social world. If a structured method of data collection is employed, certain decision must be must have been made about what he or she expected to find, and about the nature of social reality that would be encountered or taken under consideration. Most researchers prefer a research orientation that entails as little prior contamination of social world as possible. Keeping the data collection instrument to a minimum enhances the opportunity of genuinely revealing research participants' perspectives. So, if we want to reveal research participants' perspectives, so we have to cautious and apply our understanding and to collect some information before going to the field. And this type of research strategy, it's a strategy that tries not to restrict areas of inquiry too much and ask fairly general rather than specific research questions. We are not going to ask respondent specific questions. We always try to focus on general questions, and they adopt methods of research that do not require the investigator to develop highly specific questions in advance. It is not needed, and therefore therefore to devise instruments specifically for those questions to be answered. Ethnography is particularly well suited to this orientation, and making as many observations of that setting as possible. They can then formulate more specific research questions out of their collected data. Interviewing is the most prominent method to the researchers, but it is not like structured interview in case of or open-ended or close-ended questions. Uh, so researchers have enough freedom to to set his or her instruments while collecting data from the field. And but at the same time, qualitative research is not above criticism. So it has some criticism. It is unfocused and idiosyncratic in nature. So it is not systematic. Rather, it means unsystematic view of researcher about significant and important aspects of social world. This is the uh, argument made against social qualitative research or research as instrument as qualitative research. And there is a chance of developing close personal relationships with people of study area. There is really a huge chance of being closeness about the researchers and the people under study. So it is begins with open-ended way and gradually narrowing down of research questions and problem. So researcher started with open-minded and opening uh, his questions open-ended and so on and so forth, as and as some of the thinkers said about against qualitative research. So it is very much difficult. That is most important aspect, is very much difficult to replicate. This kind of research cannot be replicated. This is a common argument that qualitative researchers most difficulty is that of replicating a qualitative study. Although replication in social sciences is not an easy task, you should also remember this point, because it is unstructured and depends on researchers' skill, and also no standard procedure are available for social science research, particularly qualitative. Investigators are the main instrument of data collection. So they prefer to decide for data collection. They prefer to decide for data collection, observation, time, area or field to be covered, recording, everything. It is totally depends on the choice or decision of the researchers doing or applying qualitative style of research. When researchers are in the field, something strikes them as significant to choose, while others may focus on other issues. This may happen during the time of data collection. The responses of participant may vary due to age, gender, and personality also. This is another problem to the researchers while collecting data. Responses came from different people with different age, gender, personality, experience, perception, etc. also, and affected by the characteristics of again those criteria. So interpretation of data may be influenced by the preference of the researcher because of unstructured nature of qualitative data. There is a chance. These are the criticism against qualitative data research. It is difficult to replicate qualitative findings as well. So another important problem is problems of generalization. Problems of generalization. So it is difficult to generalize in other settings when participant observation or interviewing is conducted on small group or or group of people or small area or very limited number of people. So it is difficult to generalize on the basis of the conclusion drawn from this type of research, as criticized by the quantitative or other researchers. So, qualitative research lacks transparency. So, it is also against the qualitative research. Critics made this kind of argument against qualitative research. How the research was conducted. So, this is the lack of transparency or the question of transparency. Sometimes it is difficult to derive the operational procedure from area selection to reaching in conclusion. So this area selection is also uh, very difficult, and to justification given for them is also very difficult for the researcher, as criticized by the critics. How people were chosen for observation and interview. So, what was the basis of choosing people for observation as well as interview? This is another point. And the process of qualitative data analysis is often unclear. Sometimes it is not clearly mentioned by the researcher, as Bryman and Burgess mentioned in 1994. It is not clear about how the analysis was conducted, what the researcher was actually doing when the data were analyzed and conclusions were arrived. So, conclusions were arrived. Actually, these are the steps not properly mentioned by the qualitative researchers, And these areas should be addressed by the qualitative researchers to establish transparency uh, and to meet up the problem of generalization and dependency on the data and other things. So there are a number of criticism. In spite of that, we are dealing with qualitative data, qualitative data, and in case of quantitative research, we are converting the qualitative data into quantitative one. So uh, I should stop here. I've already discussed so many things in a single session. So it is the turn of the participants that if they have any query.
Please, participants, if there is any queries, please raise your hand.
I can give you the PPT to the participants if they needed.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Hello,
Sir.
can
This
I
is
ask?
yes. This is Dr. Shahidul Islam, Assistant
Oh,
Professor of Commerce from Krishna College. Actually, I have a question. May I ask you, sir? Hello.
Yes.
In case of qualitative data,
Yes.
I have seen that some researchers are going through a questionnaire where he sets more than 50 or 60 items in his or her questionnaire. And I have also seen some of them are ready a question with 20 to 25 items in her or his
Yes.
questionnaire. Actually, I want to know from you that is there any rules of fixing items in a questionnaire?
No, actually, it depends on several aspects. Your question has two parts. First, I would like to deal with your last part. That is, there is no hard and fast rule to include how many questions or items included in a questionnaire or interview schedule.
Okay.
Is it clear? And
Yes.
in your first part of your question, that is very interesting because I have already mentioned several times that you have the freedom in case of qualitative research. Researcher, for their own sake, what they did, they prepared a questionnaire come interview schedule. I think it should be clear to all of here participants that what are the differences between questionnaires and interview schedule. So I must say that it should be a interview schedule, but at the time of interview or observation or participation, there are two things parallelly running during collection of data in case of, particularly in case of qualitative research while doing research as participant observation. And at the same time, it is very uh, uh, conducive for the researcher that they prepared a questionnaire for or the interview schedule for like qualitative research. But you can point out your queries as a point not as a question,
Okay.
isn't it?
Right.
Because in some cases, there are a number of areas that the participants, they are not well conversant while you are with interview schedule or questionnaire in your hand. So you have to memorize your points, and accordingly you can raise your questions on the basis of your objectives and the questions you have said to conclude your research. Got the answer?
Yes, sir. This is a good suggestion.
Huh.
I also told them to just uh, conversation the remind their objectives in their
Yes,
mind, uh,
yes.
and he or she should answer those questions
Hmm.
after the interview schedule
Hmm.
by
Because at
themselves.
the same time, researcher has to collect data, record data, so
Yes,
many works at a time he
yes,
has to
yes,
done, isn't it?
yes, sir.
Huh.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Shainda, you may proceed.
Uh, Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech and insightful speech. I have one query.
Yes,
May I ask?
yes,
Uh, what are the challenges and opportunities of using digital qualitative research methods, such as online interview or social media analysis, particularly in relation to issues of data quality and research participant relationships?
yes. It is another important and very relevant question you have raised. That you just repeat one more the points of your question. That is
Uh,
online,
yeah, ac-
digital.
digital social media,
Yes,
digital qualitative research.
yes.
May I say again?
And the quality of
Actually,
participant
my
researcher.
question is, what are the challenges and opportunities of using digital qualitative research methods, such as online interview or social media analysis, particularly in relation to issues of data quality and researcher participant relationships?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, yes. So this is very relevant. I have not yet covered this part today. So rightly you have pointed out. Thank you. So there is a there is the opportunity of using digital platform as well for qualitative research as well. And in quantitative researches, digital platforms are used, telephonic interviews are used, online data are also valid in today's world. So you can use this, but in case of qualitative research, researchers participant interaction will not be so much effective because of virtual presence of the two. And it is also important in context of participants whether he is willing or not. You cannot understand until and unless any response came from their sides. So this is the challenges you have to face. And opportunities, of course, this is also accepted. But I think in ethnographic kind of research it will be hampered to a lot, because it would not be give you the proper result at the end of your research, because it is very much important to present a researcher in the field with the respondents, with the participants or the subjects, and to understand the social context. That is also important. The sociologists actually emphasizes on the social context of the research. So we cannot departure from that aspect also. Therefore, I think it could be opportune to the quantitative research, but it is a challengeable game to the qualitative researchers as well.
Thank you, sir.
Have there any questions? Okay, sir, I have a question regarding your when you have said that between the difference qualitative and quantitative research, you have
Yes.
said that the measurement for the quantitative research is systematic, but also it may be ad hoc basis. Actually, these two terms are contradict to each other. Uh, I cannot get this point actually. What you want to say?
Okay, just a minute. No, it is it is the problem from my side, not your side.
Okay.
That is, you should read like this. In case of qualitative research,
Yes.
measures are decided on ad hoc basis and
Yes. Yes.
specific to individual setting. And in case of quantitative, measurements are systematically formed before data collection. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Mm, if anyone asked their question, please proceed. I think there is no questions anymore.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful presentation. Your perspective reminds us that the qualitative research is not just about interpreting the data, it's about understanding people or context like that.
Right.
Okay, with this, we may conclude our day 5 workshop. I hope today's session have equipped us all by prioritizing the ethics in qualitative research, build trust with participants, and foster the meaningful relationship and produced high quality responsible research. Thank
Thank
you,
you very
sir.
much for
Again,
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity in International FDP program organized by your college. And I also extend again my thank and gratitude to the organizers as a whole and the
uh,
participants, those who are
you are not
remain.
audible, sir.
Isn't it? No, it is open.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
And particularly the participants, those who are remain present till 5:51. So thank you again. Thank you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Paramita.
Yes,
Should I leave?
thank you all the participants for your engagement and questions have added their value to this discussion and to our organizing team, technical support team. Thank you for your tireless effort behind the scene, as well as I had also like to extend my heartfelt vote of thanks to our coordinator, Madam Dr. Anamika Chakraborty.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you,
all
Paramita.
again. Thanks to all of you and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.